much, my sister, Becky Williams. Hello, brothers and sisters of 1199, West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. I am so proud to be here. This is a kick-butt union. We tell your story wherever we go around this country. And you have, yeah, go ahead. You should be very proud. Very proud of yourselves. And I'm so proud of Becky's incredible leadership in this union. Many, many times at our International Executive Board meetings, Becky is the one stepping out and leading in so many areas that matter so deeply to our being able to build a powerful movement for change for working people in this country. She has made an incredible difference in the politics of this state. In the toughest of times, in the states of Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky, Becky's leadership in galvanizing the rest of the labor movement to invest in races and issues that matter to us and put more money on the table than we've seen in a long time from all of labor headed in a direction where we're going to stand up and fight back for our values is thanks to this sister here. And we should owe you a debt of gratitude. And the other thing that Becky Williams brings to our national union is a consistent insistence that members can do anything that we give them the opportunity to do. And she was the first leader in the country that made the case that members could lead our lost time leaders during our political action. Do you remember that? You all led the way on that. And you helped us make that case all across this union. And because of that, we just passed 100,000 COPE contributors this year for the first time in our union's history, and you all helped lead the way, and we are grateful. The third thing that Becky Williams makes happen is consistent with the tradition that my dear brother Tom Woodruff started in this great union, was making organizing a top priority and making it crystal clear that unless we grow this incredible organization, we are not going to do right by our members at the bargaining table or at the ballot box. And her unrelenting torch that has been carried here makes it clear that we need to keep organizing. She raises it at every national table. I'm incredibly grateful. And you all helped just bring in 27,000 new home care members in the state of Minnesota, which is a great breakthrough in these tough times. But the other thing I want to do is salute the incredible theme of this assembly that you're about to kick off, which is rising to the challenge. Because I can't think of a better way that we have to meet this moment when our leadership is required not just for the people that we represent in our shops, but on behalf of all people in this state, in every state, and across the nation. We know that working people are facing the worst economic times of our generation, and that each of us is having to work harder and get less. And we know that working people have had it with that situation. Is that right, brothers and sisters? So we believe that today we are at a turning point, and that our union, the Service Employees International Union, needs to be a catalyst for change across the labor movement and with our community partners in saying, no more. We are not going to kill ourselves and work ourselves to death. We are going to join together and fight back. And we are going to be the United Mine Workers of the last century and say that the Service Employees International Union is going to throw our shoulders back and fight back and insist that anybody doing service work in this country also deserves to be on a path to the middle class. And service jobs are going to become the foundation of the next American middle class in this country. And you and I are going to help make that happen. And that's why, in the face of unprecedented attacks on us, we made the decision to rise to the challenge and build a growing movement of working people that is saying we deserve better. From home care workers in Cleveland that have begun to fight for 15 in a union, to fast food workers across this country who are fighting for 15 in a union, joining hands with Walmart workers who are saying we deserve better, growing across our union with hospital workers, airport workers, childcare workers, adjunct professors, PhDs earning poverty wages have said, hey, 15 in a union sounds good to us too. And so this movement is catching fire, and we're saying we can do better. And that's why we think it's so important that this fight for 15 that was kicked off 22 months ago by fast food workers is joined by home care workers and the rest of our members, because we are going to make the case inside of our union and to our family, friends, and neighbors, the rest of the labor movement and the voters in this country, that when you work hard for a living, you ought to be able to do one job.
Yeah.
One job. Yeah. One job. And be able to live a decent life. And expect that our kids are going to be able to do better than we've done. We are going to restore that promise if it takes our last breath. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? And I was incredibly proud on Labor Day that because of the work each and every one of you do every day, I was asked to ride with the President of the United States on Air Force One. From Washington, D.C. to Milwaukee. And I don't know how many of you got a chance to hear what he had to say, but my heart busted with pride when I sat with Diane Palmer and home care and nursing home workers from Healthcare Wisconsin and heard him say, millions of fast food workers are joining together to say they deserve better. And I salute millions of people standing up, because there's nothing more powerful than a good idea than when millions of people are organizing together to fight for that good idea. And to have the President of the United States say that. And then the second thing he said is, if I were busting my butt doing a service job in this country, I'd join a union. He did. And the last time a President of the United States said that, 1934, President Roosevelt. So our organizing created the conditions, finally, for the President of the United States to say, the way that we are going to create good jobs in this nation is by joining together and creating a massive organizing movement for change and saying, we are not going to work in poverty wage jobs anymore. We can do better. We are going to have a fight for 15 and a union. It was just as exciting for me, I know, to meet Carol Ford again.
Here.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Carol Ford and I. The first time I got to meet Carol Ford was with Becky in 2012 when we were knocking doors in Cleveland. And Carol was one of the member organizer political leaders of your team that was setting the pace since March. And she described to me in 2012 what we're facing in 2014. Mary Kay, there was a spring of, you got to be kidding me, from March to June, people were like, what the heck are you talking to me about the November election for? And then from June to August was the summer of, maybe I ought to do something different. And when I was knocking with her in October, we were on a street where she knew everybody, because she'd been on that street so many damn times that people would come out of their porches and call her by name. And I said, Carol, is this where you live? Is this your block? She goes, oh no, I know every block that I've been on since March of this year. And we walked up to one house where that window went up on the second floor. And Carol jumped in front of me, God love her, because she was afraid a bucket of water was going to be poured down on us. I'm sure none of you that have door knocked have ever had that experience. And I have to admit, I was really grateful I said that, because I've actually had a bucket of water thrown on me. And the woman held out a First Family t-shirt and waved it at Carol and said, I cast my absentee ballot. And thanks to Carol's incredible work. But now, in her next life, in 2014, what Carol was doing with me just a couple of weeks ago in Becky's office was updating me on the work that your union is pioneering for the rest of our nation by galvanizing home care workers in Cuyahoga County to demand, can you believe it? $15 in a union. Home care workers. Who do those home care workers think they are? Those home care workers are standing up for 3 million home care workers in this country who do noble work, who are caring for our elders and disabled in this nation, and who are going to force our national conscience to look at how are we going to meet the growing population in this country, and who are the people providing this incredibly important work of bathing, cleaning, shopping, taking care of people and making sure that they aren't admitted into the hospital because of a fall that could have been avoided when you got Hawkeyes like Carol Ford watching after people, right?
Right.
And I have to tell you, I was proud to represent our union on the strike day that the fast food and home care workers just did. And you would not believe the number of national press people that said, now why are home care workers joining the fast food workers? Is this going to grow beyond those two groups of workers? And what is it that home care workers do every day? And what do you mean home care workers don't already earn $15 an hour? This is what this union is doing, which is shining a light on some of the most important work happening in the front lines of our healthcare system that nobody sees. And you are lifting up workers who deserve better in making the case and linking the fight for 15. And I think the question and discussion that's happening all throughout our union is, how does the fight for 15 affect me? Because just a week ago, I was in Detroit, sitting at a table before we door knocked in the governor's race there. 2 home care workers, 2 nursing home workers, 2 fast food workers. The nursing home workers said to the fast food workers, I have to tell you, when I first heard that you demanded $15, I thought, they can't get 15 if I'm not going to get 15. And then I went to one of your strikes and I saw all these people and I thought, you know, these people have a lot of courage for taking this risk of leaving their job and then getting harassed by their store manager because they don't have a union to protect them. And they started talking about what it's like and how the hours get changed and the schedules are shifted and how much the harassment is similar between how nursing home supervisors treat them and store managers and the fast food. And we agreed at the end, which I think everybody in this room knows, that when 1 million fast food workers make a breakthrough and win 15 in a union, it is going to change the bargaining that's happening all throughout our union for every nursing home worker. Right. Don't you agree?
Yep.
So I don't know if you agree, let's see through hands, that the fight for 15 that has been growing over the last 22 months has changed how people think about what fast food workers ought to earn. Do you think that's true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do you think the fight for 15 has made people think, maybe I ought to join that fight or I ought to help that movement, because if those workers win, we can too. Do you agree with that?
Yep.
So I agree that that's happening all across the nation, and it isn't just inside our union. Wherever I go, people think of our union as being on the front lines of a minimum wage fight, that what we want to do is lift the minimum wage. And I say, hey, we're happy that that's happening. We're thrilled that 6.7 million workers' wages have raised in the minimum, but that's not really what we're after. We're after living wage jobs that people can support their families on and own a home with and expect that their kids are going to do better and retire with dignity. We're after way more than minimum wage going up. And that's what I think we're having to inspire with the $15 minimum. I want to just take stock with you. 22 months ago, when 200 New York workers went out on strike, it was about 2 weeks after the re-election of our president. Everybody in the press was saying, 15 bucks? You got to be kidding me. That's just ridiculous. That's impossible. They're never going to win that. People remember that? And then just a month later, in December, Congress introduced a minimum wage bill of 1010. And people thought that was too high. Remember that? And then a month after that, in January, at the State of the Union, the president of the country said, I'm going to fight for a $9 minimum wage. And the right wing pounded him about how we were going to lose jobs. Remember that? There was this whole throw water on that. But then, because fast food workers kept organizing, they kept striking, we got arrested at McDonald's. You saw a picture of that. They went global. Fast food workers from around the world came to a conference and said, we want to join this fight with you. The workers from Denmark who earn $22, the worker from Australia that earn $19, who have a union and get living wages from the very same companies that employ 1 million people in our country. So they can do it over there, they can do it here, right? So that movement grew, yeah. And it became, why not 15? And I have to tell you, in this most recent strike, when the home care workers joined, it's the first time that I've heard the national press begin to say, well, whose members are these people going to be when they win? So the conversation has totally shifted over the last 22 months because workers hung in there, they had courage, they rose to the challenge, and they've begun to change the debate. Now, more than 100,000 workers in Seattle are on their way to earning $15 an hour. That includes, yeah. And I want to remind you, brothers and sisters, that includes the $9 hospital housekeepers in Seattle, and it includes the $8.75 nursing home assistants in Seattle. So even the workers who are in our traditional industries that don't yet have a union are going to be on their way to 15. And then, after Seattle won, LA Unified school workers, custodians, school secretaries, the crossing guards, the cooks, and the dietary workers, they thought, why shouldn't we ask for 15? They just ratified a contract where by January of next year, every service worker in LA Unified School District, 25,000 are going to earn $15 an hour. Isn't that incredible? And then Johns Hopkins hospital workers, they've had a contract for 30 years. The service workers at the top of the scale earn $10.50 an hour, and they decided that they would strike, they would take arrests, they would raise hell, and they just ratified a contract where they're going to earn $15 an hour by January. So together, brothers and sisters, what we are doing, our union, with non-union workers, with other unions, with faith leaders, with community partners, and in some cities and states with elected officials who have joined the picket lines and have taken arrests with us, we are building the largest, most inclusive, most determined movement for working people that modern America has ever seen. And we have only just begun to rise to the challenge. Imagine what it will mean for nursing home workers in West Virginia and Kentucky when 1 million fast food workers settle a national contract with McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King. Imagine what it will mean for Ohio State employees if we can lift wages at the bottom of the economy and ensure that everybody doing a service job has at least a living wage job of 15. We got to take the bullseye off the backs of public employees who are trying to maintain good wages and a decent pension. And we need to make that possible for all workers in this country. Imagine what it will be like when every senior citizen group, every newspaper, every elected officials agrees that we must pay home care workers and nursing home workers at least $15 an hour if we are to ensure quality care for our parents and grandparents in the years ahead. Brothers and sisters, time's up on trickle-down economics. Time is now to raise wages, raise our families, and raise our communities. The time is now for all of us to rise to the challenge. A rising America means where our families and communities are strong. A rising America means that no child is going to be left behind no matter where they live or where they were born. A rising America means that 300,000 unemployed Ohioans and the unemployed in West Virginia and Kentucky can get a good job if they want to go to work, that they can live on and raise their family on. Where nursing home workers get wages where they can work one job and have safe staffing for the residents that they pour their hearts out to care for. A rising America means that we have a state government that has the guts to hold the wealthy and the corporations to play by the same rules we have to play. Yeah, and that they have to pay taxes like we have to pay taxes and invest in quality public services that each and every one of you pour your hearts out to deliver every day. A rising America means that poor and low-income communities get the added investment targeted to them so they have the same opportunity to work hard, play by the rules, own a home, and expect that our kids are going to do better than we've done. A rising America means an economy and a democracy that works for everyone. We believe in a rising America. When we unite, we win.
There you go.
When we unite,
We win.
So I want to teach you a chant that I was taught when I was being arrested at McDonald's. We had to sit on this asphalt, and it was 100 degrees outside. And I have to tell you all, I had black pants on, so you all know what that was like. I kind of stuck to the asphalt after the first 15 minutes. So when the riot police, who were all in masks and those big vests, had those batons that were about this long, and we got a little closer in the crowd, those sticks became a yard long within a half a second. I don't know if anybody's had that experience. So there were several people around me who you could feel the fear run through. And this is the moment I always believe that we rise to the challenge. That no matter how scared we are, or whatever fear might block us from speaking out or standing up, we step through it. Usually, in my mind, by thinking about somebody young that I love in my life, that I know I got to have the guts to stand up for, right? And this one woman behind me said, "I came to get arrested." I didn't come to get trampled. And as she was saying it, these dogs came out of these vans. Yeah, exactly. And somebody said in the crowd, "I." And the rest of us said, "I." And then he said, "I believe." Say it with me. And the rest of us said, "I believe." I believe. And then he said, real quiet, "I believe that we." I believe that we. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. And then this woman who had been really scared behind me said, "I believe that we will win." And she started dancing right there in front of me. I was like, okay, I believe that we will win. I